baby, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of 18 plus? My name is Matty Pays, back at you with another one, baby, the host with the most mojo. And today we diving into the topic of how to deal with bad luck in a positive way, baby. How to deal with bad luck in a positive way. Now, if you are anywhere close to being like me, then you may relate to this, man. I got on the worst string of bad luck this 2024. I'm gonna be honest. It was wild, man. I'm a full-time inspirational influencer, creator, live streamer. This is what I do. It's my passion. It's what I love. And it was thriving. It was absolutely thriving, man. Going, just to the moon and beyond. And this year, all of a sudden, I went and I got rocked. I got my world absolutely rocked. Everything just felt like it was going south. I had no idea why. I couldn't explain it. I thought that I was just, it was just bad luck. All right, it's going to turn around eventually. Then the second month went by. The third month went by. All of a sudden, I'm losing more and more and more. And I'm like, what is going on in this moment? And then I hit a realization. And it was, Matty, you got to take a step back and you got to look at it like this, because now, after looking back, bad luck to me is more or less a matter of perspective, right? Good luck, bad luck, I don't know if either of them really exist. It's not about the event itself either. Like the event that I was talking about, how I just, was up so high in the sky and then I came crashing down to barely scraping by and able to even put food on the table at times. And, I started to learn that the emotions that I was putting behind the way that I was feeling, it was creating more of what I didn't want to have happen. So I had to kind of sit back and reflect, and I realized that it's not always about reacting to things, and it's so hard to, speak sense in an insensible mindset or situation when you feel like you just want to yell, punch something, you know what I mean, just go crazy. But I had to sit back and then I had to look at why this was happening. And why I felt like this was happening, I don't want to say to me, but for me, because I learned that, through a little cognitive reframing, which is something that, if you're unaware, cognitive reframing is something that it takes time and effort to shift and to change your emotional response to certain things that you encounter, especially that are out of your control. And just like anything, little by little, inch by inch, it's a cinch, in the words of Les Brown, but yard by yard, it's hard. And it's all about stacking those small lessons, stacking those small wins that are gonna bring a little bit more of that change you're searching for into your life. And it's just a little bit of that cognitive reframing, taking some steps back like I had talked about, and just readdressing why you feel the way that you feel. And maybe it's a reflection of something you either are or are not doing. Nobody's gonna be up their whole career. Nobody is always gonna have highlight moments every single day, week in and week out, month in, month out. You are gonna get rocked every now and again because, in a sense, it's a reality check. When you start working towards something you've never had before, when you're trying to create and build something that you've never created or built, it's just been an idea and a vision, of course it's going to be extremely hard and you're going to feel targeted at times. But to think that you, out of over 8 billion people in the world, are getting targeted, that is going to create more of this perceived bad luck. So the first step, man, reframing from bad luck, or reframing bad luck and putting it into somewhat of a more positive perspective, because, it gives us a chance to kind of sit back and reflect and look at what we can do to make changes going forward so we experience less of that bad luck in a sense. The next thing that I want to touch on is, challenging your assumptions. Challenging your assumptions is one of the best things. It's like similar to accepting accountability. Look at certain habits that you've created in your life up and until this point that have kind of provoked or created these external factors. And I think that it can limit your sense of control because you start to think that you have all of this stuff figured out, and then you keep getting hit left and right with bad luck and fortunate experiences. You start thinking, oh, this is probably probably going to happen today, and then next thing you know, it does happen today, and it's 9 out of 10 times people compound that negative energy and those bad thoughts and bad emotions, and they get more of what it is just to be right, which is a very egotistical thing, very egocentric in a sense. So a lot of the bad luck that we face ends up starting off as kind of accidental and a little bit of a learning lesson, and then it comes into more and more fruition of being built by habits. I think the role of self-talk and how you discuss and talk to yourself is something very valuable. And I said earlier today when I put out an IG reel at Matty_Pace, I said, I think it's a great thing to have people that doubt you in life. Michael Jordan was coined as highlighting in his Hall of Fame speech, the high school basketball coach that cut him, and he held that on to him throughout his whole career to becoming the GOAT. And, for me personally, I think that having people that doubt you is a beneficial thing if you are not one of those people. You just can't be one of those people that doubts you, because then it's like, you're trying to get to a location, but, you didn't put gas in the car, so you're just sitting in the driveway complaining about not being able to get to where you want to go because you didn't fill up the tank. It's that simple. And I think, one of the best things you could do is I want to encourage you to assess your assumptions. Assess your assumptions of why you think you are where you are. And then also provoke your mind with alternative solutions as, well, what if I looked at this a little bit different? Or am I looking at this in the best, most healthy and positive perspective that I can? And a lot of times we're not. Because a lot of times we are coming from an emotional state. I mean, I've been there. I still go there every now and again. I got to take myself out of it. But like I said earlier in this video, it's about changing those habits. Remember, Les Brown, inch by inch it's a cinch, but yard by yard it's hard. It's all about stacking those small changes and those small wins. And one of the good ways to do that, and one of the best ways that I found personally, is focusing on the positives, man. Nowadays, social media, it makes it very trendy to be negative. You see a lot of toxicity, a lot of people blowing up in the scene that are very toxic, and, I never understood why negativity catches on like a wildfire and blows up all over social media, but it seems as if the motivational, the positive, and all those other things, they take so long to grow and to flourish. And you know what? Sometimes the most meaningful and impactful things, they take the longest to really, build that foundation, so you can build a mansion on that foundation. Because if you don't invest in that, you're going to have a foundation of straw. You can't build anything on that without it coming down. So really look at gratitude. Gratitude will indeed shift your attitude, and gratitude is mentioned all throughout civilization, especially in the Bible and different religions. Gratitude is one of the things that, if you're willing to identify the small positives in every difficult situation that you encounter and face, you will slowly begin to transmit new energy throughout your body. You're gonna feel it firing and wiring in different ways. And it's finding gratitude. Like, let's say something unfortunate happened at work. Let's say you got, fired or something, but you haven't really been giving your best. You haven't been showing up positively. You've been causing ruckuses. You haven't been causing ruckuses. You haven't been on time. You're late 4 out of 5 days a week. You got to accept accountability that, okay, I really fed into the problem here. I don't blame that company for letting me go. There's different little things, but sometimes things are removed from your life to teach you a lesson to bring better things into it. So it's all about finding that silver lining, and it can really help shift your perspective and boost your resilience in the process. Every now and again, you got to know what it is to fail in order to remember how to succeed. You got to know where to go wrong in order to go right. You can't have a dark without a light and up without a down. Everything works in perfect harmony, but it is our attachment to certain things that make it better or worse, wrong or right, painful or pleasurable. But it's all about finding those silver linings. And I encourage you to really practice speaking in a better way to yourself, to other people. Bring it back to the basics. I know we were all raised in different places, but I think one of the common foundational aspects of life was, treat others how you want to be treated, right? Speak to others how you would want to be spoken to. But don't forget to speak to yourself in that same way, in that same fashion. Don't forget to look at yourself in that beauty as well. They say beauty's only skin deep. And it's true, because what lies behind the surface is your purpose. And the only way to find it is to dig below what everyone can see, and there's so much more to you that I feel like we are very hesitant to explore because of some of the negatives we may find. But in essence, if it weren't for the negatives of this life, and if it weren't for the positives and them coming together, we wouldn't even have electricity. We ourselves wouldn't be alive on a molecular level. This microphone wouldn't exist. You and your ability to watch this video and listen to it wouldn't even exist. So to an extent, we need the negatives, and they can be used as a positive if you're willing to balance out your attachment to it and your perspective, of course. And another thing is learning from experiences. You got to be willing to learn through those experiences, especially the ones that you perceive as unlucky, because they can provide valuable learning opportunities for your life. After a while, you gotta sit back, and I say it all the time, and I might catch some flack for this because of the Swifties out there, but at one point, you gotta stop pointing the finger and say, hey, maybe it's me. Like, if you're always in train wreck relationships, if you're always, life's like a revolving door. You see those same people going through jobs left and right. They can't seem to hold one down. You gotta take a step back and say, maybe it's me. Maybe it's something that I'm doing. The first couple of times it could be, and I use this term very lightly as I believe there's no such thing, coincidence, but I really think that when you can step back and assess and, challenge your assumptions, like I said earlier, focus on the positives, but also accountability as to where you may have went wrong, that right there can really be a game changer and a difference maker in your life and, your trajectory of where you're going. All these things work into, the final product of who you become. And I encourage you guys to reflect on past challenges, past mistakes, and identify the skills that you gained through those lessons learned. You put your hand in a fire, it gets burnt. Not to put your hand in a fire again. It's the same concept with continuing to experience the same sort of results. It must be something in your process that you either are doing that is affecting the outcome, or something that you're not doing that you should try to do to create a new result. That is the importance of viewing setbacks as opportunities for growth and development in your life. You've got to be willing to assess things from a neutral stance with a low emotional charge behind them, and just take it for what it's worth, and really be open and honest with yourself. I think that's one of the most challenging yet beneficial things that any one of us could do as a human being, or a spiritual being having a human experience, however you want to look through it. But the last thing I want to touch on is embracing the unexpected. I once came up with a quote earlier this year that said, "It's in the unknown where true comfort is grown." Embracing uncertainty can truly lead to unexpected opportunities. Because if you're willing to dive into the world of the unknown, not only are you, going to embrace some potential opportunities that wouldn't be there had you stayed in your comfort place, but you're also going to grow more as a person and on a personal growth level and spectrum. And personal growth is going to reflect what happens in your life and who you become and what you're able to build and what you're able to do. You got to build a strong belief system. Then you will realize that, maybe it wasn't bad luck all those years. It was my lack of showing up in the fashion that I needed to in order to get to where I wanted to be. Run that back, write it down if you'd like, and highlight your importance as well, because you are important. And I think that's something that a lot of people overlook. Everyone always says, oh, you matter and you this, but how many people truly mean that? And how many of you actually feel that way? Stay open to new possibilities. Know that you do have meaning and you are a phenomenal individual, and learning how to adapt to change. Just because something is new doesn't mean that it can't be pleasurable. You've got to be willing to adapt and to overcome, to persevere and persist. These are things that the most successful people in our history have been able to do. It's adapting to the change, because adapting to change also helps you create a new change and a new path. I would encourage each and every one of you to take the action. And I encourage you to approach bad luck with a positive and a proactive mindset, maybe even applying some of what you have listened to in this video and letting me know how it works out for you in the next weeks and months to come. Because, you know, change isn't immediate. As they say, change doesn't happen overnight, but it does start with an idea and making a decision. And that right there, in a sense, can produce some new results immediately, because how you feel is going to begin to change a little bit. So that being said, that is how to deal with bad luck in a positive way from yours truly. Thank you so much for tuning on in to this beautiful and amazing video. Feel encouraged to share it with somebody that you know and spread a little bit of the knowledge and wisdom. I always say if something helped you, chances are it could help someone else out there. Sharing is caring, baby. And thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you on the next one. My name's Matty Pace saying one life, one love. I'm out, baby. You got this.